The gate to hell, also known as Pluto's Gate, was said to be the entrance to the underworld. When archaeologists found an example of this sacred site in Turkey, they also discovered two guardians who were meant to ward off people from the deadly cave. The gate to hell in the Phrygian city of Hierapolis has been recognised as a deadly location. Ancient documentation about the cave of the site claims it's full of a vapour so misty and dense that no one can see the ground. Any animal that passes inside meets instant death. Mystery surrounds this temple, which has been dubbed a portal to hell after a spat of unexplained deaths. For years, any beast or bird that came near the portal reportedly dropped dead, and it was claimed they were killed by the deadly breath of Hades, the Greek god of the underworld. During ancient Greek and Roman times, people were also said to have been cut down if they dared to approach, but now scientists believe deadly concentrations of CO2 gas could be seeping from the Earth's crust, which could have caused the mystery deaths near the temples. The new research was published in the journal Archaeological Sciences. Among the ruins, the archaeologists uncovered a cave with ionic semi-columns. Upon them are inscriptions with dedications to their gods of the underworld, Pluto and Cor. Italian archaeologist Francesco De Andrea told Discovery News, "We could see the cave's lethal properties during the excavation. Several birds died as they tried to get close to the warm opening, instantly killed by the carbon dioxide fumes." De Andrea claims that pilgrims arriving at the sites were given small bursts to test the deadly effects of the cave. Priests were said to have sacrificed bulls to Pluto while madly hallucinating from toxic fumes. Another professor said the study detected highly concentrated levels of carbon dioxide. He believes it's possible that the cave sits above the Baghdad fault line, which could release toxic gases from the Earth's crust. In a grotto below the Temple of Pluto, CO2 was found to be at deadly concentrations of up to 91%. Astonishingly, these vapours are still emitted in concentrations that nowadays kills insects, birds and mammals. Amelia Earhart was an American aviator who set many flying records and championed the advancement of women in aviation. She became the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean, and the first person to fly solo from Hawaii to the US mainland. During a flight to circumnavigate the globe, Earhart disappeared somewhere over the Pacific in July 1937. Her plane wreckage was never found and she was officially declared lost at sea. Her disappearance was one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the 20th century. Bones discovered on a Pacific island in 1940 are likely to be those of famed pilot Amelia Earhart. This is according to a US peer-reviewed science journal. Earhart, her plane and her navigator vanished without a trace in 1937 over the Pacific Ocean. Many theories have sought to explain her disappearance, but a new study published in Forensic Anthropology claims these bones prove she died as an island castaway. The report claims they're a 99% match, contradicting an earlier conclusion. The study was first published by the University of Florida and conducted by Professor Richard Jans from the University of Tennessee. It disputes that the remains found on the eastern Pacific island of Nikimaroro, about 1,800 miles southwest of Hawaii, belonged to a man, as a researcher had determined in 1941. Earhart was known to have been near the island when she vanished during her doomed attempt to fly across the globe. A British party exploring the island for habitation in 1940 found a human skull, a woman's shoe and navy tool used by navigator Fred Noonan, who also vanished, and a bottle of herbal liqueur, something Earhart was known to carry. There was suspicion at the time that the bones could be the remains of Amelia Earhart. The party found a total of 13 bones, which were then sent to Fiji to be analysed by Dr. D.W. Hoodless, who concluded they belonged to a man. But Dr. Jones argues that because forensic osteology was still in its early stages, Dr. Hoodless probably reached a wrong conclusion. The paper states forensic anthropology was not well developed in the early 20th century. Consulting Dr. Hoodless's measurements of the bones, Dr. Johns used 4DISC, a modern computer program now widely used by forensic anthropologists, to compare them to Earhart's height and body stature. The bones have unfortunately since been lost and so cannot be analysed, but the research team used historical photographs as well as her pilot's and driver's license to determine that her body proportions match the skeletal remains. a historical seamstress was also consulted to analyse her clothing, including the inseam length and waist circumference of Earhart's trousers. This analysis reveals that Earhart is more similar to the bones than 99% of individuals in a large reference sample. Archaeologists have identified the location of 11 lost cities thanks to a 4,000-year-old clay tablet. These tablets have been excavated from the ancient city of Kanesh, located in modern-day Turkey. Written in the cuneiform script developed by the Sumerians, they're a mishmash of business transactions, accounts, seals and contracts. The tablets sound rather boring to the normal person, but not to those with a trained eye. Business dealings always mention where they're taking place, and perhaps where the trade is heading to or being received from. This means that the names and potentially the locations of cities that have yet to be found, those still buried beneath the Turkish soil, could be found within the texts. Kanesh, once a small trading settlement, became a major trading post for the entire region. The tablets are so detailed that the authors describe the city in the paper as a flourishing market economy, based on free enterprise and private initiative, profit-seeking and risk-taking merchants backed by elaborate financial contracts, and a well-functioning court system. It's this comprehensive record of accounts that reveal that Kanesh traded with most cities closer to it, and less with those further away. Taking all this data and properly quantifying it, the team managed to essentially create a system of distance based on the frequency of trade between cities. This system, which they call a structural gravity model, gives robust estimates as to where these lost cities might be. They note that for many of them, their approximations come close to the conjectures produced by historians. Although they need to be found to confirm the accuracy of their system, this paper provides a remarkable tool for archaeologists. It's a gate to a kingdom that, for all intent and purposes, was the world's first superpower. Now the only thing left to do is set out for a number of archaeological expeditions, and start excavating in hopes of discovering a dozen of long-lost ancient cities. There are many mountains the world over, but perhaps one of the strangest is Chandanya, a mysterious cliff in China that reportedly lays perfectly round or oval stone eggs every 30 years. The 9-foot high and 65-foot long heavily eroded formation has an uneven surface, dotted with dozens of round and oval-shaped stones of various sizes. As the elements continue to eat away at the cliff, the harder eggs become more exposed and eventually fall out of their natural sockets. According to the people of the nearby Gulu village, Chandanya takes 30 years to lay its strange stone eggs. The phenomenon is so unique to Chandanya that geologists from all over the world have travelled to those remote mountains to study it in person. Several tests conducted on the Mount Gandech showed that it's mostly made of harder sediments, but the portion of that particular cliff is mostly chalky and erodes easily. The round eggs, however, are made of a much harder rock that takes a considerable longer time to erode than its surroundings. The explanation raises another question as to how such a chalky section formed during the Cambrian period could have survived 500 million years. More importantly, how the eggs so perfectly round with no sharp edges at all. The unusual phenomenon has been known to local people for many generations, who visit the place to touch the eggs for good luck. Almost all families in Gulu own at least one of these eggs as a good luck charm, and the village collection includes much more. Whenever new eggs reach the stage and are ready to fall off, they're often stolen. The scientific explanation is that the eggs are what geologists call concretions. Sedimentary rock like the ones that make up this cliff forms when water deposits minerals, which build up and weigh down on the layers below it until they're compacted into a solid rock. Concretions form when minerals gather around some sort of impurity, like a leaf, a shell, or even a soon-to-be fossilized animal, and create a rounded mass of minerals. That often happens after the sedimentary rock has been laid down, so the minerals are usually different than the surrounding sedimentary rock. If those concretions are harder than the rock around them, as they often are, they'll eventually wear down the surrounding rock and break free. A mysterious faint creature that washed up on a beach in Texas following Hurricane Harvey has been identified. A woman named Preeti found the decaying fish on a beach in Texas City, and asked Twitter for help. She posted several photos with the caption, "Okay Biology Twitter, what is this?" Her request was passed to the biologist and eel specialist Dr. Kenneth Tiggy, who believed it's a fang-toothed snake eel. He said it may also be a garden or conger eel, because all of these species occur off Texas and have large fang-like teeth. It's thought that Hurricane Harvey, which brought strong winds and flooding to Texas, could explain why the creature was washed up. The fang-toothed eel, also known as a tusky eel, is usually found in waters between 30 and 90 meters deep, typically in the western Atlantic Ocean. Pretty, who was at the beach assessing the damage from the hurricane, told the BBC, "It was completely unexpected. It's not something that you typically see on a beach. I thought it could have been something from the deep sea which might have washed ashore." She said she left the eel on the beach to let nature take its course. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.